Okay, so first I just want to start by saying this time you don't have to write any of the steps down, but just like the fraction one, here's a little infographic in order to help you find the answers, okay? So step one is to determine if the divisor is a whole number. So just a reminder what the divisor is. The divisor is the number that comes after the division sign. So the divisor is the number that comes after the division sign. So in example 1, it would be 5. So if the divisor is a whole number, yes, then we divide as usual and put the decimal place in. If not, then we go through this whole process. So let's just first start by dividing ones that have divisors that are a whole number, okay? So looking at example 1, the divisor, or the number we're dividing by, is a whole number. So we're going to do long division as usual for that one, which means that the 5 comes out front and the 68.5 goes on top, okay? So now we just divide as usual. All right, so how many times does 5 go into 6? Once. Minus 5, which is 1. Bring that 8 down. That goes in 3 times, which means we have 3 left over. Bring down the 5, and that goes in 7 times. But I know 5 doesn't go 137 times in the 68.5. So that's what step 3 is saying, okay? Put the decimal place directly above where it is in the dividend. So if it's here in the dividend, I bring it up, and it's going to go right there. So my answer is actually 13.7. Okay, so I divide as usual. Then wherever your decimal place is in your problem, bring it directly up, and that's where it goes in the answer. Okay, so I want you to try example 2. So let's set it up. The divisor, which is the number after the division sign, is a whole number. So you're going to follow those simple steps where we put 4 outside the division bar. 27.5 comes inside. Then you divide like normal. Don't forget, this comes straight up, and that's there. Okay, so find the answer for me. Okay, so hopefully you got the answer 6.875. So you had to do a little bit more work there. Okay, but let's see what this next one says. Is my divisor a whole number? Is my divisor a whole number? Is 0.6 a whole number? No, right? So now we're going to look at these steps. So now we're going to make our divisor a whole number by moving the decimal place in both places. So in this first one, in order to make this 0.6 into a whole number, we move it over a run. Okay, but since we moved over this one once, we have to move this one over once. Okay, so since we moved one over, we have to move the other one. So now this 0.6 really becomes a 6. That goes outside the division bar. And that 4.43 really became a 44.3. So we just moved the decimal place over once. So we moved it over once. Okay. So that allows us to eliminate that 0 in front of the 6 and that decimal place in front of the 44. Okay, so now we divide as usual. Make sure if your decimal place is here that it comes up and it gets placed there. So 6 goes into 4 0 times, but it does go into 44 7 times, which is 42. I'm going to zoom out a little bit because I'm running out of some room here. Okay, or I guess zoom in. Okay, so this is 2, bring down the 3. 6 goes into 23 3 times, which is 18. We have a leftover of 5. Don't forget, you can just start to add zeros. Okay, and keep on going until hopefully we get down to 0, which is 3. So hopefully you're doing what I'm doing, which is trying to get that down to 0. But I'm noticing something when I do this. If you notice, these last couple, I have 20 as my remainder. I keep on getting 3 here, right? Keep on getting 3 there. So that tells you that this is now going to become a repeating decimal. And hopefully you remember, on top of a repeating decimal, we put a repeating bar. And then we don't need these other numbers afterwards. So then my answer is really 7.383 with the repeating bar over top. The repeating bar only goes over what's repeating. The 3 itself is the only thing repeating, not the whole thing. So the repeating bar only goes over the top. Okay? So I want you to try examples 4, 5, and 6. So pause, work on 4, 5, and 6, and the answers will be up when you unpause. So make sure that if you have questions, you ask if you didn't get the same answers. Okay, so I got -30 for example 4, -0.5, and then a 1.6. So you had to do a lot of decimal moving for example 6, so just be careful there. All right, get going on your homework.